everybody. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District. Will be held Monday, May 22nd at 2023, beginning at 5 p.m. in the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom of the McAllen Independent School District. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than as shown in this agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action by the board on the item and subjects listed as follows. Call the meeting to order. I call the meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. The invocation will be done by Trustee Sam Saldivar.
Everyone, please rise. Please remove any headgear. Thank you. Loving Father, as we gather at this place, we pray for your guidance. Help us work to the best of our ability so that all in our care will reach their potential. May we treat all with respect and kindness. May our decisions be based on careful consideration and wise choices. Help us to make the school district a community to be proud of, where people feel included and welcomed. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Trustee Saldivar. Item number 3 is the Pledge of Allegiance. We will be led by student from Mac High, C.J. Ham.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Ham. We will now go to public comments. The statement for introducing the public comments. The board encourages public comment. This is the legal part of it. The board encourages public comments at all board meetings. According to board policy, BED local, board meetings, public participation, and related district administrative procedures and practices. Number 1, persons wanting to make a statement to the board are required to register with the superintendent secretary 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Number 2, audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the early stages of a meeting. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless requested. Number 3, each participant is limited to 2 minutes per meeting to make comments to the board. Number 4, at regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comments regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Number 5, all other board meetings, public comments shall be limited to only items on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Number 6, the board shall not deliberate nor decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. If an issue mentioned is on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting. Number 7, should the speaker drift from the subject stated or becomes disruptive or abusive, he or she will be given 1 warning. If a second warning is required, then the speaker may forfeit the remaining time allotment. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. Okay, we will now go into item number 1, Amanda Muir regarding school safety. Before you begin, is there going to be a clock that they can see? Ms. Muir, I will not interrupt you at all. You will see the clock and count down. I will stop you at your 2-minute mark.
It's okay. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Amanda Muir. I'm a property taxpayer in the McAllen ISD. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I'm a surgeon, but probably my most important title is being mom. And I have 3 little girls that are Gonzalez Elementary, and unfortunately, and 1 boy that really wants to speak too. This year, we've had a very rough year in school, and I believe that's directly due to supervision issues that we continue to face at the school. My 2 oldest children, unfortunately, had events in school, multiple, for my oldest, which could have been prevented with better supervision. Events that border on bullying and definitely should never happen. I have been at the last 2 board meetings, and I'm going to be at every board meeting from here on forward until a solution is found, because the last thing I want to do is see my 8-year-old second grader not be excited to go to school. I believe there are solutions to this, and I think we can find something, but inaction is not one of those things. And so until something is done, I'm going to be up here at every single board meeting, and I'm going to make sure that my voice is heard, because as a mom, that's the only thing I can do. When I say supervision, not only do I mean more physical adult eyeballs, on the children, but also a proper surveillance system in the school. I believe both of those are definitely in order after what we've experienced this year. I would like to yield the last 30 seconds for some silence because we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of every parent's worst nightmare. Please think of those parents in the next 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Murr. Dr. Murr, before you walk off, you're signed up a second time. Is that by mistake, or are you speaking on a different subject? Thank you so much. Our second speaker is David Alonso regarding school safety. Is Mr. Alonso here?
He's not here. That's my husband.
Oh,
He's still at work.
my apologies. Okay, the third speaker was Dr. Muir. She's already spoken. The fourth speaker through the 34th speaker are very passionate mariachi parents, students, community members, teachers, educators that have all signed up to speak. And as board president, in order to control meetings by BED local meeting management, the board president is allowed to limit, if everybody is speaking on the same topic, we are allowed to limit it to 1 minute instead of 2 minutes. But these are very passionate individuals. And so we had a conversation outside. We're going to allow them to all come in together, all stand in unity together. They're going to have 10 uninterrupted minutes. They can speak in however they want. I believe Dr. Dalia Guerra is going to be leading them off. And they're going to do that in lieu of all 30 getting just 1 minute. They're going to be able to have 10 really strong, passionate minutes. So we'll give them a minute to all walk inside, and then we'll start their clock at give them the 10 minutes.
It starts when you speak.
Yeah, it'll start when you speak. We'll wait. Why don't y'all all come and y'all want to come here and look out? Or come here and look at us? Or you can stand behind Dr. Guerra. You can stand in front. Y'all are welcome to line up right here as well. I see you have posters that you want us to read. You're welcome to line up here as well. Or right behind. Alex, y'all can all line up right there if you want to hold posters or anything like that. Y'all can line up. Yeah.
I'm going to need phone charger.
We don't want to block the speakers though, so can I suggest that these people move? Just a minute, they're still coming. Okay, thank you everybody so much. I appreciate you allowing us to shrink it down so that we're not here until 10 at night. So thank you so much for doing this. And we're all excited to listen to the passionate speakers. So when you're ready, Dr. Guerra, you speak, and anybody else, however y'all did it, and then at 10 minutes, I'll let you know your time is up.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dalia Guerra, founder of the Mariachi program at UTRGV. In 1989, I started a mariachi program at what was then UT Pan American. There were a few faculty that thought it was the end of the world. I was going to destroy the dignity of the department and send it in the wrong direction. Spring forward, 35 years. Mariachi El Salon from UTRGV is recognized as the best university program in the nation, comparable to the best professional mariachis performing today and often sharing the stage with renowned international artists. Today at UTRGV, we offer a unique bachelor's degree in the U.S., a Bachelor in Music Education degree with a mariachi concentration, which is nationally accredited. This achievement reflects that the study of the mariachi genre is now at the forefront of music education as a vital and valuable educational tool. South Texas mariachi programs are receiving national recognition. A recent article in the New York Times described the annual mariachi competition in San Antonio and focused on the mariachi from Rio Grande City. There was another recent article in the LA Times about a mariachi from Edinburgh, which was featured in the 2023 Sundance Film Festival. McAllen has had great success with achieving excellence in performance, placing at the top of state competitions and bringing great pride to your schools and the community. This has been done by the tireless work of the directors and students. However, I am here to tell you that McAllen mariachi programs are at a great disadvantage in comparison to other mariachi programs across the valley and state. In any discipline, excellence is only attained by starting a child's education at the proper time in their lives to achieve true success and reach their full potential. Middle school mariachi programs are already established in Roma, Rio Grande City, La Gruya, Valley View, Hidalgo, Edcouch-Elsa, etc., and throughout the state of Texas. Unfortunately, McAllen is already behind the curve. In order for your high school mariachi programs to be sustainable, truly competitive, and achieve their full potential at the high school level, you must first establish middle school mariachi programs in the McAllen schools with competent mariachi instructors. The ideal and equitable solution is to develop the necessary musical skills at an early age in the mariachi genre that are equal to any orchestra, band, or choir program. Thank you for your time and attention.
My name is Leah Garcia, and I am a junior at McAllen High School and a member of our often forgotten mariachi program. I come to you today along with many concerned parents and students from all three high schools in McAllen to let you know of how disheartened and demoralized we are that after 35 years of our program being established in McAllen and finally having gained ground to begin the implementation of our program at the 6th grade middle school level, you would decide to shut it down and go back on your promise and commitment to all of our students and directors. Currently, every fine arts organization, every music program, and every sports program in our school district already benefits from beginning their training to prepare them for the competitiveness of high school since their middle school years. Every program that is except mariachi. Could it be because our music is in Spanish and its roots are different, so you do not feel it deserves the respect or the merit that music in English benefits from already? We'd all like to know. Nobody has ever been able to answer that. Why is that, I respectfully ask? What else besides blatant discrimination and discrediting of our culture and our art form could it be? To say that our directors and all of us as young students work ourselves to the core to the point of exhaustion, burnout, and both physically and emotionally on a daily basis through weekends and holidays, day in and day out, would be an understatement. We overwork ourselves in an attempt to perform at a high level, stay competitive, and make up for years of lost time and the lack of adequate fundamental preparation for what is mariachi music at the high school level. Although our programs at McAllen High School and our sister schools of Rowan Memorial have achieved phenomenal results over the years as a result of our hard work and being able to compete with the best of the best, this is ultimately not healthy for any of us, not sustainable, and cannot be consistent. Thank you.
My name is Andrew Trevino. I am a junior at McAllen High School and a member of McAllen Mariachi Oro. I'm speaking on behalf of the establishment of the middle school mariachi programs that were promised to us and are now being removed. My dad, Alex Trevino, is the head director of our mariachi, so I've been able to witness the firsthand account of what he and other directors have done for us. Seeing that my dad has been directing the program for over 15 years now, I've seen the amount of dedication and effort he has put into the program to get it to where it is. What makes this program, as well as other McAllen mariachi programs, different is that we don't begin until high school, whereas other programs begin in middle school. This forces us to spend time focusing on the little things that should have been developed years ago, such as vocals or the mariachi style. In order to even have a chance at competing against other strong mariachi programs that have started their students since 6th grade, 7th grade, or 8th grade, we have to have practices on weekends or during holidays like winter or spring break. Doing this for so many years has not been the easiest battle. We've had to spend countless hours putting in the work to get us to where we need to be able to showcase what we love. Once we heard the news that we would finally begin to establish the middle school mariachi programs, our directors, parents, and fellow students were excited to see the change in our program. This meant the future of mariachi at McAllen was really bright. Not only this, but it would introduce and encourage more students to choose fine arts in middle school and high school. Most of all, I know my directors across our district were overjoyed to receive the news because it meant that kids would be introduced to the great world of mariachi and the McAllen ISD would only excel more in years to come. If we could have a fully developed mariachi program built the right way, that would mean that everybody's hard work over the years in the mariachi program has paid off and given opportunities to more and more students in the future. Thank you.
Hello, McAllen ISD School Board Trustees. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Yara Licano, and I'm a 7th grade student at Fossum Middle School, and I'm a proud member of the Mariachi Los Halcones and Nicky Rowe Mariachi Azteca. I would like to tell you a little bit about what music and performing means to me. I have been a passionate musician since I was 5 years old. I began performing in musicals with a private acting troupe at a very young age. I also play piano, violin, and love singing. I transferred specifically to McAllen ISD and to Fossum from outside the district because I wanted to learn the genre of mariachi music. I chose Fossum specifically because of the new pilot program you all approved last year to have mariachi in the middle schools. In orchestra, for example, I learned how to sight read and to play classical music. In theater, I've learned about productions and how to convey emotions through song. And mariachi has heightened my love for performing to a whole nother level. This past March 2023, I had the opportunity to enter my very first vocal competition on behalf of McAllen ISD as a vocal soloist. I was mesmerized by the aspect of connecting with the crowd and singing something of my culture. I placed 3rd at UTRGV Edinburgh in the middle school category, and then in April I placed 2nd in the UTRGV Brownsville competition as a vocal finalist. I also have had the opportunity to learn from very prestigious mariachi members from outside of the area, and I received top-notch instruction that could really put me in a better position in the future when I compete again, instrumentally or with my vocals. Can you imagine how many more students like myself could achieve if we started in 6th grade and if we had more support in the middle schools? I have big aspirations for my mariachi and performer journey, and I can only encourage you to reconsider adding more staff in the middle schools. It will propel students like me who dream of being on big stages to new heights. I know I'm only one voice, but I realize that it is important to speak up so that other students have opportunities like I'm having in the middle school program. I hope that you will help me to continue to grow and to make you proud.
Good afternoon, esteemed board members, parents, and students. My name is Jose Guerra. I'm a student at Royal High School. I'm also the section leader of the Mariachi Azteca and also the principal violinist of our orchestra. I'm here to speak on the importance of reinstating the middle school director position, which is going to stimulate growth in our mariachi program. Stepping onto the Lila Cockrell Theater stage, fearing my first ever performance, I thought, you got this. As this was one of the most memorable moments in the strategic and competitive elective, not just because it was my first competition, it was one of my most embarrassing performances. As we concluded our show with Legs of Jello, we detoured to remain seated to watch the following mariachis perform. These groups came from various parts of Texas and even Las Vegas, Nevada. One thing I noticed coming from these groups was just not the musicality, but also the confidence they radiated on stage, which of my uncultured freshman self and all. With such high demands to find the antidote to such an outstanding performance, I started to question and ask myself, what did they do to get there? And can I reach their level? Once the feeling of doubt and confusion took over my head, it pushed me to seek some type of intel. I started to question, how was it possible that these groups were so advanced? As I investigated, I found out some of these groups start their programs in elementary and middle school, and even half of them have full-on art academies dedicated to this elective. As I go into my junior year, I find myself feeling uncertain as 7 of our seniors graduated, which leaves us an enormous challenge to our directors and our whole group as a whole. This rigorous challenge is to bring up and establish a high varsity level group that will be able to compete with confidence and passion as those other districts did. I can't seem to understand why McAllen ISD retaliates against the extension and growth of this program, as our slogan states, District of Champions. But this form of art showcase, our district as a diverse, welcoming, and knowledgeable community where many are welcomed. If we're truly District of Champions, we should be pushing for growth instead of seizing for it.
I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of McAllen Memorial High School. And I just have one rhetorical question for you guys. Are you guys really going to limit kids' talents and abilities at a young age, and even our voices, when this organization is run by students without us? Admit it, you guys would be absolutely nothing. Because if we wanted equal opportunity, we would be going to Roma or Rio Grande City. Because what is so different from our program that we get called drunks, illiterate, and uneducated out in the music world? When McAllen High School are 7-time state champs, Nicky Rowe is 6th in the state, and McAllen Memorial finally made history at their own school. I just have one final question for you guys. McAllen has had the mariachi program for 35 years. Do we really need to wait 35 more?
Thank you so much. That was your 10 minutes. We appreciate hearing all of you and seeing all your signs and reading all your signs. We're so proud of everybody for coming and advocating.
We have one more student who wants to give her 2 minutes, 1 minute, please.
The group had a decision to make, and collectively they decided to go for the 10 minutes, and the 10 minutes is up.
You will give 1 minute to one student? We'll be back.
Thank you, Stu, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all. And thank you for saying the Pledge of Allegiance, too. And that's the end of public comment. There's more? Oh.
Yes, you have another.
Oh, my apologies. I see it now. Number 8, Mr. Jewell, Blue-Eyed Jewel. Thank you so much, Mr. Jewell. When you speak, when you start, it'll start at 2 minutes, and I will not interrupt you.
Right. Hey, I was just listening to these kids. Man, they're fantastic. I've heard them play. And I was thinking, I played in the jazz band in college in Oklahoma, and our director, Dr. Pancho Romero, was a mariachi. So I'm a beneficiary of mariachi education. Thank you. I never played it, though. Anyway, I'm Jerry Jewell. I'm a local pastor. I'm a parent. And I just became, even though I tried to refuse it, the president of the Memorial High School Swim and Dive Booster Club. So I'm stuck with that. I wanted to welcome the new board members. I'm glad to see you. And I just want you to know that I'm praying that you're successful and that we do very well for our kids. Recently, the board approved funds to remodel the Nicky Rowe pool. This is absolutely necessary. I've talked about it here over and over again. In fact, just last week, I had to deliver some pizzas there for the kids. The air conditioner wasn't working. It's desperately needed, so that's good that we're getting it done. However, it's just not enough. Even with that remodel, we are not to the bare minimum of what a district of this size should have. 3 schools should not be sharing one facility. It's just overtaxed. It's overburdened. We need another facility. Just think about this. As our pool is being remodeled, where do our 3 high schools practice? And it's going to be out the entire season. I know they've said maybe by December, but December is almost the whole season. February is the end. That's state. So we really need more pools. So that's why I'm talking to you. There's a lot of options. We could go really big like they did in FAR with that big natatorium, or we could go smaller and just get some smaller pools that would be adequate for local meets and practice. But I just wanted to let you know that we're not up to standard, and even with the remodels, we're not even close to standard. So I would like you guys to consider looking forward to how we can accomplish this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Item number 26, Beverly Avila. The subject is Fine Arts Excellence. Again, I will not interrupt you. The screen will go.
Thank you. I would like to thank the MISD administrators and past and current school boards for providing our students with an excellent music education program. I was privileged to be a part of this for 29 wonderful years, starting as an elementary music teacher and spending the next 25 years as choral director at the middle school level. Since then, I have served as a contract accompanist in several neighboring school districts, as well as substituting in McAllen. As many of you know, every McAllen Fine Arts program is known to win awards at the highest level. This includes band, choir, orchestra, mariachi, and theater. But why is McAllen so successful? Because the groundwork is laid out at the elementary level with outstanding elementary music specialists in K through 5. When the middle school teachers receive them as 6th graders, they already have a strong music foundation. In many places, middle school is where the inexperienced or less successful teachers may be moved, but never in McAllen. McAllen realizes and has consistently recognized the value of strong and experienced specialists in band, choir, and orchestra. We are so blessed that our students are not pulled to choose between a plethora of electives, but instead are allowed the time to focus for 3 years on band, choir, orchestra, art, or drama, while being taught by specialists in that specific area. Our middle school groups are award-winning at every school. This specialized instruction at the middle school age enables our students to be prepared to thrive in a variety of programs at the high school level. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of the middle school specialists. It is an advantage I have not observed in some of the districts I've been playing piano in. It is because of this amazing instruction from kinder through 8th grade that our high school programs rank among the very best in the state. I request that the district keep this foundation as it is, without changes to staffing or adding more programs. We are highly successful. Let's keep it that way. I want to thank the administration for their continued support in staffing and scheduling, and ask our new board members to continue this fine track of excellence in our District of Champions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Mr. George Villanueva. The subject is pool improvements.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the new members. Okay, so my name is Jorge Villanueva. I had two sons that are in Memorial High School swimming team. We appreciate that you have heard us the needs to improve the conditions for swimming in the McAllen ISD, and that you have resolved a plan to improve the Nicky Road Natatorium. Thank you. Now, I ask, is it considered in your project expand the insufficient and inefficient areas for the bathrooms? Is it contemplated to improve the uncomfortable and insufficient areas for the spectators? In a word, is an efficient architectural design contemplated to improve the natatorium? As we have already said in other occasions, are you aware that there are very efficient renewable energy generation and saving systems that can be used, such as solar panels, solar water heaters, that in addition to saving a lot of money, can be obtained tax reimbursements and can put the district at the forefront as an example to follow in the conservation of energy or for a green certification? Another point. We know that regardless of that, current facilities are renewed. If they are not expanded, the swimming team will not improve as much as desired, since the facilities are currently very saturated. Remember, all middle schools, high schools, and clubs that use it. So it is important to expand or build a new, broader, functional, and beautiful natatorium. Our young athletes deserve it. The McAllen ISD deserves quality facilities according to its category. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Villanueva. That now is the end of public comment. We will go to item number 5, the superintendent's report. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am. One of our dreams in the district was to create a barbecue competition, and in conversations with students, we know that there was a lot of interest in that particular area. We also know that there's a Texas High School Barbecue State Championship that we're interested in competing in. And this year, in our inaugural year, we competed against one another across the district at our Tech Wars this year. So have a short video that highlights that day, and we're very excited about the future of McAllen ISD and our new barbecue teams.
Well, this is our inaugural Grill Wars, and it's exciting because there are kids from all walks of life working together from every single type of club, every single type of athletics. They're here participating in Grill Wars. It's exciting because it's a different way for kids to collaborate, learn about each other, learn about something that brings us all together, which is food.
Grill Wars is a barbecue competition for the kids. They're gathering students from across the district, from Mac High, Memorial, and from Rowe, competing against one another, just whoever wins the barbecue competition. It's great to be involved with the community and with student engagement, just watch them grow and have them fulfill their dreams in every aspect they want to commit to. I gave back by sponsoring. I love McAllen. It's a great district, and I love giving back to my community.
This event shows the kids that there's more than just STEM activities. Yes, there's science, technology, engineering, math, but there's also the art portion, and the art that we're indulging in today is the kitchen. And yes, it's an outdoor activity. It's barbecue, but it's still an art. These kids are still creative and doing so many great things.
To congratulate the grand champions of the competition. That was the Smoke and Arrows from Nicky Rowe High School. So I know that they set the standard in the inaugural year. So round of applause for the Smoke and Arrows grand champions. That concludes my report, Mrs. President.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gonzalez. Item number 6, the recognition. 6A, recognition of Albert Reggio, Sony Reggio, and Fred Harms for the donation of the Career Technical Education Culinary Arts Program. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am. Tonight we recognize and thank Albert Rego and Sandy Rego and Fred Harms for their $20,000 donation to our McAllen ISD Culinary Arts Program. We're very, very appreciative through the Santa Fe Steakhouse Foundation. And we have Ms. Diana Peña, our coordinator for career technical education, who will share more information. Ms. Peña?
The rest of the board, would
There
you
you
like to
are.
stand up here while she's presenting?
Sure.
Madam President, Board, Superintendent Gonzalez, and of course, the Regos. We would like to take the opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude for your generous donation. Your donation is going to not only help our CTE students, but our STRIDE students as we complete our cafe for culinary arts for everyone. We appreciate you and we thank you. If you'd like to please come up for a photo. I'd also like to present our teacher, our culinary arts teacher, Ms. Kenia Cipriano. And our junior student, Ms. Samantha Campbell. And our director, Ms. Lily Sandoval Silva. And Ms. Sonia, Sonny, and Albert Rego.
Well, I wasn't expecting to say anything, but I tell you what, we are so excited to be here. We have been donating for scholarships at the Santa Fe since 12 years ago. And this year was the first year that we got involved with the exciting culinary program and the STRIDES program at the Early Achieve High School. When we discovered the opportunity, we couldn't wait to do something. And it was through discovering the cafe and the need that they had, we said, let's do it, without question. So thank you very much for the opportunity. We're so proud to be here.
Very good. All right, straight ahead. Big smiles. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Very good. Hold it there. Hold it there.
Hold on. Do you want to take a picture? I'll send you one. Well, no, I want one in the middle.
Ya tú sabes dónde lo voy a poner.
Yes. You can stay there.
Our next item is item 6B. And tonight we recognize students who wrote and received a mini grant for the Youth Lead Mental Wellness Project from the Texas Systems of Care. We have Mr. Adrian Garza from our Family Treatment Program. He's a manager there who will introduce our outstanding students, and this item is for information purposes only. Mr. Garza.
For the sake of increasing access to mental health services and reducing the stigma of having a diagnosis, 3 students from Lamar Academy took the initiative and submitted a proposal to create an awareness regarding mental health at McAllen Independent School District and our community. Due to the intense competition and being awarded $1,235 for a youth-led mental health wellness grant, where only 13 awards were given statewide. We want to recognize our Lamar students and staff for their passion to reduce the stigma. We want to recognize this evening Ms. Amelia Mendez, 11th grade. Ms. Ashley Salinas, 11th grade. Ms. Sofia Mata, 11th grade. Principal, Ms. Jeanette Nino. And Elise Johnson, NYP DP Visual Arts teacher.
Big smile, straight ahead. Got a couple pictures here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Can we get Adrian in here? Oh, yes. There you go. Very good, Adrian. All right. Another picture. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. One more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Hold it there.
Our next item is item 7A under proclamations. By proclaiming May as Lupus Awareness Month, administration would like to increase awareness about lupus, and we have trustee Sofia M. Peña who will read the proclamation. Administration is requesting action on this item.
I move to approve the proclamation.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar and second by trustee Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Madam President, trustees. McAllen ISD proclamation. Whereas lupus is a severe and unpredictable autoimmune disease that can cause life-threatening damage to any organ in the body and is a global health problem that impacts millions of young people worldwide. And whereas lupus is a global health problem that affects millions of young women, men, and children of all nationalities, races, ethnicities, genders, and age worldwide. And whereas people with lupus need access to medical specialists in high-quality care, including emotional, psychological, and social care. And now, therefore, I, Sofia Merced Peña, Secretary of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, do hereby proclaim the month of May be observed as Lupus Awareness Month. An estimated 1.5 million Americans suffer from lupus, the chronic inflammatory autoimmune disease that can affect various parts of the body, especially the skin, joints, blood, and kidneys. The Lupus Foundation of America, Texas Gulf Coast chapter, is part of a national force devoted to solving the cruel mystery of lupus while providing caring support to those who suffer from its brutal impact. Awareness is vital in raising funds for research for those affected by lupus, and it is our responsibility as a community to advocate on their behalf and to further encourage educational programs so everyone affected by lupus can have an improved quality of life. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the McAllen Independent School District to be affixed on this 22nd day of May 2023, attested to by Board President Debbie Crane Aliceda and myself, Sofia Merced Peña. Thank you. I'd like to give a special thank you to McAllen ISD for this proclamation. As most of you know, I do suffer from lupus. I have been diagnosed for about 30 years, and it is pretty cruel. But, and if you witness, it's something that can be managed, but there are a lot of people, including our very own, and if you would please stand with me, Alejandra Gran Molina. I want to just thank you for your support and for always being so transparent as well. And thank you, everybody, for this proclamation. Please continue to support those who suffer from this disease, because we don't look sick, but we suffer a lot. Thank you very much.
Right there, very good. Big smiles, everyone. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome, very good. Thank you.
Item 8 on the agenda is donations. We have none. Okay, we're on number 9, consent agenda items 9A through 9L. Before we go into those, is there any item that needs to be pulled?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to pull 9J, please.
All right, 9J is being pulled. Any other items that need to be pulled? Okay, can I have a motion to pass item 9A through L with the exception of J?
So moved, Madam President.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar and seconded by trustee Regalado. Items 9A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, and L. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item 9J, we will wait to hear that item until we are under the subsection that's Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations. We will now go into item 10, Instructional Services, Instructional Leadership, Human Resources, District Operations, Business Operations, and Board of Trustee items. Item 10A, Instructional Services, Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos. Instructional Leadership items, Bridget B. There is nothing to present. Item 10B, Human Resources items, Todd Miller. 10B1, Report regarding 2023 McAllen Independent School District Professional Opinion Survey. Dr. Gonzalez?
Todd, on this one, are we having this one or did we pull it?
No, we're having this one, sir.
Okay, yes, okay. The Texas Association of School Boards, or TASB, and the district created and
Sir,
conduct.
I apologize. We pulled 10A. I was looking at 10B too, sir. We pulled TASB.
10B1 has been pulled?
10B1 has been pulled.
Administration is
I
pulling
apologize.
10B1. My apologies. We're now on to item 10B2, discussion and possible action on request for proposal number 2023-1042, property and casualty insurance. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Madam President. Administration solicited proposals from vendors for property and casualty insurance, and we have Mr. Todd Miller, our Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, and Andres Silva, our Director for Employee Benefits, Safety and Risk Management. And they're available to answer any questions. I see Mr. Silva at the podium. Sir, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, sir. Good evening. Have quite a bit to discuss on this RFP. It's something unusual, the first for us. So a little background first. We did do an RFP as required. It issued March 1st. It closed on April 26th, so it was out about 60 days. We received 2 responses, but one was a no bid. The response we did receive did have quotes for both the casualty line and the property lines of insurance, and that was submitted by Montalvo Insurance Agency. And the casualty lines includes the automobile insurance, the liability, and the general liability, and the educator's legal liability, among others, as you have there in your packet. That quote came in for $394,000, $377.14, which is $2,580 greater than the expiring coverage from the same carriers. So we are making a recommendation for award on that. But before we go into that, for the property, we were anticipating an increase in cost with changes in deductibles and limits. The one quote we did receive was for $1,810,087, which is a 43% increase over the expiring policy, with changes in deductibles and changes in limits. During the best and final process, we did receive two additional options. Those were at a 25% increase and 29% increase, but with additional reduction in limits. The premium comparison is there provided for you for your review. However, those quotes have since been invalidated. As you all know, just the property, not the casualty. As you all know, we had a storm event, and as a result of that storm event, the carriers requested to see the extent of the damage, and they've reserved the right to re-underwrite the quote. And so as it stands right now, we have a valid casualty quote on the property side. We have provided them with the information that's available for them to be able to review, and so we're pending a revised, finalized quote from them. So we are asking for award of the casualty line since they're still valid. We are asking for the property to be awarded as well. However, awarded in such a way where it authorizes administration to continue negotiations and then authorize the superintendent to bind the coverage so that we can bind it immediately upon receipt, because this coverage does expire May 31st. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Discussion is open. Would anybody like to?
Madam President, if I may. The properties, you're talking about our fixed assets, all our buildings.
Correct. All our buildings, our insurance for named storms, wind and hail, all other perils. Yes, sir.
Okay. We have different deductibles for that, correct?
So yes, we do. So we have limits on the values, and then we have deductible differences for named storm and wind and hail. Those were some of the changes that we're seeing, that we saw in this initial quote. I didn't present them to you because I don't know if those are going to be revised further. I just gave you an example of the cost differences, so you can see that we're already seeing a pretty significant increase in the cost with some changes in the deductibles and limits already.
And the concern I have is what value are they placing on the various structures? So can you kind of elaborate? Is there any way you can share that with us at this time?
So for several years now, our limits have been at $200 million, and our current property values, they're stated at $575 million. So we were already forced to reduce our limits to $200 million. And the quotes that came in, the first one that came in, and that $1.8 million was at the $200 million level for all other perils, but it was a reduction in the named storm limits as well. So it lowered it even beyond that. And so I'm anticipating that it might even be lower when they revise this quote.
Now, named storm, you're talking about like a hurricane that's named. So like the weather event we had in which we had possible twisters, heavy wind, caused a lot of damage. That is not a named storm, even though it probably caused more damage than the recent hurricanes we've had.
So that falls under the category of wind and hail, and that has its own limits and deductibles as well.
And those limits are, just to be sure?
Sure.
I think it's $250,000 per.
So currently, for wind and hail, the limit is $75 million.
Okay. How much per occurrence?
And the deductibles are at 1% per building.
On a wind and hail?
Wind and hail.
Okay.
Yes.
It's on a named storm.
Named storm, we're current at 2%.
2%.
For named storm.
Okay. Now, who determines the value of the structure, of the building itself? Because I've heard that some may be valued, may not be market value.
Sure. Or
replacement value for if we had to go out for a bond and replace the school. So who's determining those values?
So ultimately, it should be us. Initially, it was a service provided by the carriers. They would, when we transitioned from one carrier to another, they would evaluate all our buildings, do a physical walkthrough, evaluate and provide us with the schedule values. And then for the years subsequent to that, we'd provide them with, for example, a new building that was built, a new pavilion, and that would be updated. We haven't done an on-site, on-field, in the field evaluation for several years. That's actually was something we had budgeted for this year, but it fell through. The providers that we looked at just didn't work out. So we're hoping to do something formally for next year.
For next year, but not for this contract at
Not for this
time.
contract, no, sir.
I mean, that brings some concerns, and it's a double edge, you know this better than I.
Yes, sir.
Is that if you, for example, we were looking at one of the schools during, 7 years ago, at approximately $100 million to replace, or to build, actually, to build. But today's value on that may be half that, 50 million. But if we had to, if that's, were totally destroyed, more than likely we're closer to the $100 million. So the district, based on what I'm hearing today, is we would have to be paying for that difference in addition to the deductible.
Well,
Or would they take the deductible off the fact that we have a loss greater than the
Well, the
structure?
first threshold is we'd have to meet the deductible. Just to give you an example, this windstorm event, there was damage at, my understanding, at all the facilities, some level. At least preliminarily, they haven't done all the assessments, they haven't gone through all the facilities. The first 10 facilities they did visit, the preliminary assessment was that 2 of them might meet a deductible. So it's
And
pretty.
that's at 1%.
That is, yes, yes, sir, 1%. That's at 1%. The quotes we received were at 3%. So our limits to fund on our own keep going higher and higher.
And the way that's working is, let's say the value of that property is, again, 50 million, we use that figure. It's 1% of that.
Yes.
And so the damage is what you're saying is that we're seeing right now is below that threshold. So that means we have to absorb the full
Yes.
cost, and the
Yes.
insurance didn't even step in at all.
As it stands right now, it's very preliminary, but as it stands right now, that's the case, yes, sir.
Yeah. And that's probably the case in most of the structures, if not all, throughout the district based on this last windstorm.
Again, preliminarily, 2 might meet deductible, because the strategy was visit the facilities that had the most damage and work your way toward those that had the least damage. So if we were going to meet deductibles, it was going to be some of the earlier inspections, and those have already happened. While they're still crunching numbers, it looks like maybe 2 of those will have some amount over deductibles.
Yeah.
And even that, the amount might not be very significant.
Well, the challenge we have is that we have to determine what our real value is on the real property. But with that, it means a higher premium.
Correct, yes, sir.
So, which we have to figure out how we're gonna pay that. But having seen a school district in which they had 5 schools and 4 of them were totally destroyed, while that is not likely since we're much more spread out than that community was, and it's much more compact, I'm talking about West Texas, north of Austin. But if we had a hurricane or significant weather event like that come in and destroy a significant portion of our buildings, we would, if it's undervalued, we'd have to come up with this total difference of that, and after the deductibles met. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Madam President. That's a problem.
Anybody else?
On the continued negotiations, since this contract is up May 31st, are we going to be left with any kind of a gap, or will we?
So I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll get a revised quote before. However, I can't guarantee that. So it could coverage lapse before we actually get a quote? Yes. And that's why we're requesting tonight that, and it is unusual, requesting tonight that you authorize us to continue negotiations and authorize the superintendent to bind the coverage so that whenever it happens, we can bind it immediately. So if it's before May, the end of the policy period, we'll have it bound. If it's on the 1st or the 2nd, we'll immediately bind it.
My concern here is we've really encountered some weather these last couple of months that we've never really dealt with. The windstorm, the tornado in the Cameron County area over there. And whatever this is due to, I mean, even today and this week, there's no rain predicted, but there was no rain predicted last week either, and we got rain several days last week. So that's a concern, and, having a gap or a lapse in insurance would really put us in a bind.
Yes, definitely. It's been very unpredictable. I can tell you that this particular circumstance, this is my 23rd year, never happened. I've had conversations with the lead of the agency in his 40-some-odd years. Never had a scenario like this where there's a bid received, and then there happens to be a storm in between the time when The quote was received before it was officially binded, so for the carriers to pull back. It's just what the market is seeing. We're not the only ones facing these struggles. Even before we went out to bid on this, I was getting calls from risk managers throughout the area saying, hey, have you all received your renewal? You know, our carriers are saying they're holding on to it. They're not sure if they're going to renew. Their brokers were telling them changes from 25% all the way to 75% increases in the cost. There's one account of one school district that did receive a 75% increase. So while we're not alone in that respect, we're definitely alone in respect where we had that storm right before we actually had an opportunity to bind the coverage. Originally, I should say, we had actually expected to be before you April 24th, but we started getting requests for extensions. So that told us the market wasn't out there and they were having trouble getting quotes, so we actually had to extend it. And so that's what put us in this position. We're coming to you at this point.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Silva.
If I follow up?
Trustee Saldivar?
And that was something that was concerning, especially coming from you, because you've always been on top of this, so I appreciate that explanation. But my follow-up question, because Trustee Pena brings up something real quick. Everything you've mentioned so far does not include flood. So does this provide coverage for flood?
It does have some flood coverage. There is some language in there. I think it's pretty standard that any of the properties that are considered in the flood zones, those have separate limits, separate deductibles. I don't have those specifics on it, but it does include flood coverage.
If we could, at a later time, if you could share with us which schools are
Sure.
within
Yes.
floodplains and what the language might be. I'd
Yes, sir.
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Discussions have ceased. I'd love to entertain a four-part motion.
Madam President, I move to approve the casualty line of insurance coverage for request for proposals number 2023-1042, property and casualty insurance, and award Montalvo Insurance Agency, Incorporated with Indian Harbor, School Board Legal Liability and Texas Political Subdivisions, General Liability, Auto Physical Damage, Auto Liability, and other lines, as per the attached document for the terms of 1 year, from June 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2024, with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms, subject to favorable renewal rates and terms.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Saldivar, second by Trustee Pena. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
I award the property lines of, I move to approve this,
Yes.
The award.
to award award the property lines of insurance coverage for proposal number 2023-1042, property and casualty insurance to Montalvo Insurance Agency, Inc., and authorize administration to continue negotiations with the carriers, and
It's been moved by Trustee Kittleman. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Kittleman, seconded by Trustee Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Madam President, I move to authorize the superintendent to bind the property line of coverage through Montalvo Insurance Agency Incorporated once a quote is finalized for a term of 1 year with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms, subject to favorable renewal rates and terms.
Second?
No. You beat me.
No. I withdraw my second.
A second.
It's been moved by Trustee Rivera, second by Trustee Regalado. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Madam President, I move to authorize the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources to sign the property and casualty insurance application required for policy.
A second.
It's been moved by Trustee Regalado, seconded by Trustee Pena. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Silver, for your
Thank you.
presentation. Item 10B3, discussion of update to board policy DEC local, compensation and benefits, leaves and absences. This is the first reading. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am. Administration is recommending the revision of DEC local to align with DECA legal and reflect the district's current practices. Mr. Todd Miller, our Assistant Superintendent for HR, has more information. And again, this is for information purposes only. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. This is the update to board policy DEC local with compensation and benefits, leaves and absences. First reading. Administration is recommending the following two revisions to board policy DEC local. Under state and personal leave, revise the local leave paragraph as follows. Each employee shall earn 5 paid local leave days per school year in accordance with administrative regulations. You remember back during COVID, we had added this next sentence. For the 21-22 school year only, each employee shall earn an additional 5 paid local leave days in accordance with administrative regulations. We're recommending that we remove that sentence. And this next one, just more for information, as of May 15, 2023, the number of staff COVID cases year-to-date is, for 22-23, is 347. We had brought this back to the board back in February. We decided to pause until the new board members were in. And the next one. It froze. It's not doing anything, it's frozen. Thank you, ladies. And the second part is under FMLA, the revise the 12-month period paragraph as follows. For purposes of an employee's entitlement to FMLA leave, the 12-month period shall be measured backwards from the date an employee uses FMLA leave. Deleting the part begin on the first duty day of the school year. This revision is necessary to align policy DEC local with policy DECA legal, which is leaves and absences, family and medical leave, to reflect our current practice. There is no impact to eligibility for employees currently on leave. So this is really just getting our practice in local policy in alignment with practice, excuse me. Board policy DECA legal says under leave and entitlement use determining the 12-month period, except with respect to military caregiver leave, a district may choose any of the following methods for determining the 12-month period in which the 12 weeks of leave entitlement occurs. And our current practice is number 4, a rolling 12-month period measured backwards from the date an employee uses any FMLA leave. This is the first reading. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any discussion? This is for information purposes only, so we'll go on to item 10C, district operations. 10C1, report regarding facilities, maintenance, and operations projects. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. This is a monthly report from our Facilities Maintenance and Operation Department. We have Mr. Ruben Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities Maintenance and Operation, who's here to give us an update. Mr. Trevino, welcome.
Good afternoon, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the board. I'll be presenting on the ongoing construction projects that we currently have here at the district. Our first project here is, you'll see, our UTRGV, University of Texas Rio Grande Valley McAllen ISD Collegiate Academy, that has commenced already. Here you can see the foundation being poured. The substantial completion on this project, as we're aiming for July 2024. The contract amount is $23.4 million, and this is with Noble Texas Builders on this particular project. Our heating, ventilation, and air conditioning upgrades for Lamar Academy and Rowe High School, these are both ongoing. The estimated substantial completion is August of 2023. The contract amount for Lamar is $3,794,500, and the contractor is DNF Industries, and the contract amount for Rowe is $5.5 million, and the contractor is also DNF Industries. Our Travers Middle School roof upgrades, these are ongoing, and we have an estimated completion time of February of 2024 with a contract amount of $1.9 million, and American Contracting is a contractor. We also have the Leon Morris security camera upgrade. The contract amount is $519,840,000, and the contractor is Safeguard. The Leon Morris project is slated to be completed at the end of this summer, which is August of 2023. We also have the De Leon Brown kitchen upgrades on our next slide. This one here is De Leon Middle School, which the substantial completion is at the end of this month, and we're currently working on finalizing the final punch list. And our next slide is Brown, and we can see Brown Middle School kitchen upgrades on this one. The contract amount for both is $2.2 million, and the contractor is Noble Texas Builders. We also have Gonzalez at our elementary kitchen renovation projects. We have Gonzalez and Jackson. This slide here is Gonzalez Elementary. Our next slide is Jackson Elementary. They're both slated to be completed at the end of this month, which are both on the final approval stages, and the contract amount is $2.9 million, and the contractor is Noble Texas Builders as well. We also have our roof replacements that are ongoing right now. We have Houston Elementary, substantial completion date of May of 2023, which they're finishing up the final steps for our final completion. And we also have the Roosevelt Elementary School, which is slated for completion August of 2023. The contract amounts are $789 for Roosevelt and $560,000 for Sam Houston Elementary. Here we have pictures of Roosevelt, Rayburn, Roosevelt, Garza, and Wilson Elementary. Rayburn and Roosevelt are the pictures on the bottom left and right. And Garza and Wilson will be starting as soon as school lets out, which will be next week. They'll be mobilizing to both sites. The contract amount for those 4 kitchens is $6,349,000, and the contractor is Noble Texas Builders as well.
Again, Mr. Trevino, all of these kitchen renovations and all that's all targeted federal funds specifically for this purpose.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Here we have the McKay sports lighting upgrades. These have already started. We've had our pre-construction meeting. The equipment should be arriving here in the next couple of weeks. And the construction amount for this project is $325,000. Hellas Construction is in charge of this project. And our next project that you see here is our press box going on at McAllen Veterans Memorial Stadium. Estimated completion is July of 2023. We have a guaranteed maximum price of $4,099,000, and the contractor on this project is Econ Construction. And our last slide is our Castle Round Summary Report, reporting that every campus up to date has submitted their Castle walkthroughs, and every campus right now is currently at 100%. And this concludes my report.
The acronym for CASTLE is right underneath.
Can you just give us a quick light for the new members what Castle Rounds
Well,
go?
one of the things we did is we took the concept of instructional rounds where we would go from classroom to classroom, describe, analyze, predict, and evaluate instruction based on a heat framework, and we converted that to the physical plant. So we have networks of individuals that go around and they look at every campus with regard to cleanliness, AC, safety, technology, lighting, and exterior. So we're not only doing instructional rounds, we're also doing physical plant rounds to make sure that the environment's conducive to learning. That's custom, only happening in McAllen ISD.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Any further questions?
I have a question on the Castle report. If something gets reported, is there a worksheet generated as far as the timeliness, if it hasn't been completed, when it expects to be completed? Like if the cameras don't work at a certain campus?
Yes, ma'am. Work orders generated by the campus. It then flows to the Facilities Maintenance and Operations Office. The work order is distributed and tracked, and we have a weekly report that is submitted to administration on any work that is being done pertaining to Castle Rounds at every campus.
Do we see that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee De La Garza. Any further questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Trustee Sullivan.
Thank you, Madam President. I still have concerns regarding the press box, and especially those 2 rooms, which the name I understand now is general facility space.
You're talking about the 2 outside spaces?
No, mainly the inside spaces. Initially, they were called skyboxes, and then they were called suites. And
those rooms are labeled as multi-purpose rooms. And then the reasoning for those particular rooms was when we went together with the city, and we talked about the whole structure going up, the city coming in to partner with us, which they gave us the $1 million that we talked about earlier during our workshop. Those 2 extra rooms are part of the NAIA requirements for the city to be able to apply for the championship game and to be able to host it down here. And those 2 rooms required square footage to be able to host the Board of Regents from each team actually playing in the championship game. So that was the reasoning for those 2 rooms on the outer ends. Now, those 2 rooms can also be used throughout the year by the district. If the district chooses to use them as meeting rooms or anything up there, we can use that during the day. Athletic meetings, DEC meetings that are hosted by the district, or any DCM meetings that, anyone can reserve those through athletics as well.
And we also have a meeting with Dr. Bailey coming up soon because they're entertaining the potentially using our stadium for UTRGV football. So that would be another one where those rooms would come in, I guess, into play.
But I'd understood they were going to build their own stadium, is what I understood.
I'm not sure, sir. I just know that he set up a meeting with us because he wanted to talk about the potential. So I don't know where they are with it.
All right. So as far as the district use of that space, have the criterias or any plans as to how those spaces are going to be utilized during the normal course?
Up to now, on the construction side, no, that we don't decide on the use of those spaces. I think that would be a community info question or anything pertaining to that aspect of it.
Well,
but on the construction side, we're pretty much putting up the building.
Well, I guess I'm looking to Dr. Gonzalez, because after it's done and constructed, now it's been delivered and
Yes.
it's property owned by the district.
Yes, sir. At this point, we don't have any plans to use it for any type of district meeting, although we've never had that at our disposal, so we could definitely look into it as a future site for meetings, but we haven't discussed what we would do with that classroom with regard to meeting space or learning space or what we'd be doing when it wasn't being utilized, but we'll have those discussions soon.
So the expansion from where it started, as far as cost-wise, and the amount of square footage was based on the city wanted to then make an application, as you understand it.
Yes, sir.
And an application is such that these 2 rooms would have been required for coaching staff in the event that they would come to play in that field. But do you know if there's any contract at this time, or if the city has actually applied for that, for use of that facility for that type of purpose?
Not to my knowledge.
No, we don't know. As far as the coaching staff, there'd be more in the center. There's areas for the coaches with regard to coaches up in the box, more in the center. Those would be more for, I guess, Board of Regents and presidents, vice presidents, things of that sort, kind of like what you see at UT games or what you see at A&M games or what you see at professional games, I would imagine. But as far as applications for any IA or anything like that the city's done, I don't know. I do know that's the vision for it. The next challenge is the dressing rooms. I know that there's some issues of square footage in dressing rooms, so that's something that we have to look at.
Well, again, the possibilities and what we were told, at least I understood and what I was told, this is far from that, because frankly, there's been a wish list of having Division I play there since back in the Palm Bowl days, and it hasn't happened. And now that UTRGV is going to have its own collegiate football, and again, my understanding is they were looking to either use a facility in the Edinburgh area, or they were going to build their own. And maybe in the short term, obviously this could be something. And if it was permanent, that'd be perfect. Then we're there. But it's a whole lot of wish and a whole lot of ifs and a whole lot of speculation for adding square foot and cost that we at a time even sure they put in $1 million. But we got to now maintain it, and we got to have a use for it. And my concern is it begins to be used in a way that's not for the best interests of the students, this community as a whole. So, I guess we're way past that, because the city is the one that put the money for that square footage. I was hoping we could have a revisit of it as a board with the city, is to maybe rethink about that space in some other way. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Trustee Pena?
My concern is that you said completion is July 2023, just a couple of months away. I think we better get on those discussions as far as use, because the city has put in money, and apart from the NAIA, they may want to use it for other ventures. I remember somewhere along the line conversation about it being used for meetings and things of that nature. And of course, we're going to be stuck with the maintenance. And so we want to make sure that we've got those agreements in place and that we know who can use it when, and that we are responsible for the majority of that funding, and we should have first dibs at anything that happens up there, especially when it comes to our students. And then some concerns that have come my way have been, they will be luxury suites. We're calling it multi-purpose space. And in that case, we have several events that the city hosts, namely the parade. The concern is who gets to sit up there during parades, and how fair is that? So those talks need to get going quick.
Thank you, trustees.
Ms. Ale has a response, I guess.
Yes, I've been working with the legal counsel.
You know what, if you'll hold, there's going to be a lot of discussion on this, and we have new trustees. So if you'll allow me, trustees, we'll put this in a workshop, and we'll go into a lot of depth regarding this, because right now I feel like we're kind of off topic, because we're supposed to be talking facilities, and now we're talking.
Absolutely.
So let's workshop this, and we'll cease discussion if you wouldn't mind.
My apologies, ma'am.
No.
My apologies as well.
No, good. We'll throw this in a workshop, and we'll really dive deep into it. And that way, everybody has a chance to really understand what we're talking about.
Excellent.
We'll go into item 10D, business district operations. We're going to the item that was moved from 9J in consent agenda. We're now going to go to that. So 9J, trustees, I believe it's page 55 of your 500-page report, if you want to take a minute to get there. So 9J is the possible action on request for proposal number 2024-1004, the bank depository services for McAllen Independent School District funds. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to abstain from this item, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. It will be noted that Trustee De La Garza will be abstaining from discussion and voting. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am. Administration solicited proposals from vendors for bank depository services. We have Ms. Adele Felix, our Assistant Superintendent for Business Operations, and Ms. Iris Luna, our Chief Financial Officer, who are available to answer questions. Administration is recommending action on this item, and it is a two-part motion. Ms. Felix?
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Our current bank depository service is set to expire on June 30th, 2023. We requested proposals from 37 institutions, and 5 responded. A committee evaluated the responses, consisting of myself, Iris Luna, Chief Financial Officer, Yanira Diaz, Director of Accounting, Vanessa Arizola, Coordinator of Accounting, Elizabeth Cabrera, Purchasing Coordinator, and Liz Montes, Senior Buyer. The committee evaluated responses, and we are proposing prospect.
Thank you for presentation. Any discussion?
I just had a couple of questions. If somebody can put up the ranking sheet for us? Kind of just look at price, kind of walk me through how the ranking was done on the price.
Ms. Molina, just to be ready.
Sure.
So price was actually one that was sent out as a clarification. We wanted to make sure that we had equitability on all the banks. And so what we did is we asked for a clarification via email. And the highest award, whether it was on interest, I know interest was the first one. I have it here. My apologies. So it was interest-bearing, ECR, money markets, and the different ranges, right? Less than $1 million to 2.5, and then 2.5 million all the way to 10 million. Whichever was highest for that bank is how they were credited, because we tried as much as we could to align apples with apples in an area that can get very difficult. What we looked at is we gave the same amount of points to pricing as we did to goods and services on behalf of the district, because again, there's several responsibilities that the district has that we wanted to make sure were captured. So the price actually went out as a clarification to all the banks, and all the banks did respond to make sure that we could go ahead and align, and we gave the highest points to each bank.
And it was based on, it says interest earned and has a bracket there, a range, and based on that range. And this was all predetermined before you even started looking at everything.
Right.
So it looks like if you were at 50K plus, you got 15 points. Is that how it
Correct.
works? Okay.
So the bank compensation was one area that is where we needed the clarification. The bank fees and the FDIC assessment fees. But where we asked for the clarification was in the bank compensation, and all banks did respond.
Well, you know, it looks like you had one here that's ranked third, but it had the highest, if I'm reading it right, it's 50K, right? You did give them the full points, the 15 points.
Correct. So the bank compensation, Lone Star National Bank was actually the one that got the 15K. The 14 was Plains Capital, and Frost was actually 11. And it was based on the 50K at Lone Star, 40 to 50K at Plains, and the 20 to 10K at Frost, and 30 to 40 at Texas Regional. So part of the solicitation requires us to post the matrix. So all banks equally got to see the matrix with the criteria that was going to be scored under each category.
And it seemed like that bank, when you're looking at, it looked like the greatest weights was 35 points on price, and that bank got the highest on each category, if I'm reading it right. They got 15 on bank compensation, they got 15 on bank fees, and they got 5 on the FDIC assessment fee. Is that right?
So there were 2 categories actually that were at 35, which was price number 1, and then the extent to which the goods or services meet the district's need. Both of those were at 35. And so,
let's walk through that, if you will.
okay,
Yeah.
so when we look at the extent to which goods or services meet the district's needs, again, what we're looking at is collateral, problem resolution, the contract timeline. There's transition and retention incentive systems capabilities, depository backup process, daily balance available, and then just the goods and services to the districts, right? Deposit bags, depository images, and again, all of this was included as part of the initial solicitation.
Yeah, and I noticed the last bank, which was, I guess, Texas, on
Yes,
this
sir.
one, on the collateral, got 0. And can you kind of explain why everyone else seemed to be in the running, and that one came out with 0 on that one?
So on the collateral, again, the definition was of when we would actually see the money come into the bank. And so if it was between 2 to 5 p.m. on the same day, they received 3 points. If it was 8 to 1 on the same day, it received 2 points. And if it was previous business day, they received 0 points.
And the concern then, again, is you want the funding much earlier as possible to get credit on the same day.
So what we're looking at again is those 2 areas was what the district felt was most important, which was the price and then the extent to which the goods or services. Now Iris was part of the committee, so she may have additional information.
So on the collateral, what we base ourselves on, in case we get a large deposit, say from TEA or a bank deposit, like last year we had received that big $9 million check. If we're not able to tell them right away to collateralize us, then we're not going to be collateralized for that $9 million. And that's why it's so important for us to have it that same day instead of a previous day.
For those who don't know, this is Miss Iris Luna. She's our Chief Financial Officer.
And what's happening is we're getting drawdowns periodically. In this case, it was an insurance care center, but the reality is it's coming from the state drawing down funds as ADA. Actually, we're like 12 weeks is when we actually get the drawdown because we don't get the money all up front. And that's what you're referring to, is how quickly those funds are credited into our
Correct.
account with collateral.
Correct. We need to make sure that we're collateralized with all our monies.
Gotcha. Now, I did notice also that there was a further down, much lower category about participating within the district. So if, let's say you have banks that are working with the various student activity funds, the various organizations, not tied directly to the school district, do you give them points for that, or that does not count? It has to be the relationship with the actual district.
Correct. Relationship with the actual district.
Got you. Thank you very much, both of you, for your presentation. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Trustee Saldivar. Any further discussion? Okay, discussions have ceased. I'll entertain a motion. It is a 2-part motion.
Madam President, I move to approve the request for proposal number 2024-1004 Bank Depository Services for McAllen Independent School District Funds to Frost Bank
and agreement number 2024-025, Bank Depository Services with Frost Bank for a term of 2 years from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025, with the option to renew for 3 additional 2-year terms.
Thank you, Trustee Regalado. Is there a second?
Madam President? Can I read the second one?
It's
Second.
It's been
Then I'll read
seconded
the
by
second.
Trustee Kittleman. It's been moved by Trustee Regalado, seconded by Trustee Kittleman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Okay, Madam President, I move to authorize the superintendent to sign all additional depository agreements required by Frost Bank.
Second.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Trustee Pena. It's been moved by Trustee Kittleman, seconded by Trustee Pena. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0 with 1 abstaining. We will now go to item 10D1. Flip back to page 300.
10C1.
10D1.
Oh, 10D.
I'll give everybody a minute to get there. 10D1, the report regarding taxes collected for April 2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am. We have Mrs. Adele Felix, our Assistant Superintendent for Business Operations, and she's going to present our report on the monthly taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Assessor Collector on behalf of McAllen ISD for April 2023. Ms. Felix.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. The taxes collected for the month of April 2023 to date are $94,895,770.91. The current portion of that is $93,147,774.15, and delinquent being $1,717,867.14. Comparing our percentages from current to prior year, we are in line. We are seeing a small decrease in the delinquent, but next month we'll see if that comes and picks up again. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Felix. Any discussion? It's for information purposes only. We'll go on to item 10D2, the report regarding the monthly financial and investment report for April 2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Madam President. This is also for information purposes only. Ms. Felix, the floor is yours.
Let me bring it up. For the month ended April 30th, 2023, year-to-date actual revenues totaled $200,296,183. Our expenditures as of April 30th are $187,513,485, resulting in revenues over expenditures of $12,782,698. Our investment portfolio, we have an ending market value of $171,092,836, and our average yield to maturity, as we mentioned in the workshop, is at 4.061%. Interest earned for the month of April is $585,851.30, with our fiscal year-to-date interest earnings totaling $4,344,133.19. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Felix. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam President, for some reason on mine, there's sideways. So
We printed it.
we're going back and forth, so I wasn't as fast as you were saying. But if you could get us back to that page, the first one, it has all our
This one?
yes, and bring up a little bit so I can see the fund balance.
Okay.
All right. So what do you anticipate at the end of this fiscal year of June, the end of June?
June 30th.
For it to be our ending fund balance?
We are expecting to hold steady, right? That's always our target. We don't want to dip below that. If you, well, from our board workshop, we projected 721,000 increase.
Yes.
But that's, of course, if there's no additional needs, the cost of the repairs for the storm damage that we received. So that's our anticipated increase in fund balance, but our goal is just to hold steady at this point. So here, it looks great with our optimum, but it's pending expenditures for 2 extra months. Exactly. So we won't come back with our final fund balance until, of course, we're audited. We'll have preliminary numbers at that point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Saldivar.
Just couldn't see it.
We'll go now to item 10D3, discussion and possible action of setting public meeting date for budget and vote on proposed tax rate. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am. The Texas Education Code, Section 44.004, requires a meeting notice for the budget and proposed tax rate for the district. Prior to the notice being published, the Board of Trustees must decide on the public meeting date and vote on a proposed tax rate that will be published in a notice of a public meeting. And we are requesting action on this item. You have any questions? We do have Ms. Felix here, and myself, and anybody else on the money team.
Any discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
Are we talking about the 17th?
The 12th,
The
June 12th, to be
So you need
published
a
on
motion
June
for
12th.
the board to schedule a public hearing on the 12th.
Correct.
So stated, Madam President.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar.
Second.
It's been seconded by trustee DeVetto. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. There, 10E, Board of Trustees, there are no items. 11, recess into closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 Texas Government Code to discuss the following: discussion of human resource recommendations for school year 2023-2024, discussion of human resources, employee resignations, and retirees for school year 2022-2023, discussion of recommendation for the principal of Ben Milam Elementary, discussion of recommendation for the principal of Lucille McKee Hendricks Elementary, discussion regarding school safety and security, pending and/or potential litigation, discussion and consideration of proposed settlement and release with Western Surety Company CNA Insurance Group as performance bond surety for Protec Integration Systems, Inc., DBA Protec Security Systems, on competitive sealed proposal number 2021-127, location 1, Kathy Middle School, and location 2, Jackson Elementary School fire alarm upgrades, and possible real estate acquisition. At 6:32, we are going into closed session.
So, meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District. This is today, Monday, May the 22nd, 2023. We are reconvening at 7:41 from closed session. For the record, there was no action or decisions made in closed session. That's item 12. We'll now proceed to item 13. 13A. 13A is the discussion of possible action on human resource recommendations for the school year 2023-2024. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of recommendations for the 2023-2024 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session, and administration is recommending action on this item.
What say you, board?
So moved.
Then moved by trustee Lopez, De La Garza Lopez, and seconded by trustee Peña. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 5-0. We'll now proceed to item 13, discussion of human resource employee resignation and retirees for the school year 2022-2023. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of resignations and retirees for the 2022-2023 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session, and this item is for information purposes only.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Item 13C, discussion and possible action on recommendation for the principal at Ben Milam Elementary. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am. Administration recommends the approval of Stephanie Friedland for the principal at Ben Milam Elementary.
I move to approve. I mean, did we already prove it? And by virtue?
No. You're making your motion right now.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Peña and seconded by trustee De Vera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations, Ms. Friedland.
She's watching.
She's watching. Congratulations if you're watching.
Item 13D, discussion and possible action on recommendation for the principal of Lucille McKee Hendricks Elementary. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am. Administration recommends the approval of Monica Garza for the principal position at Lucille McKee Hendricks Elementary School.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Peña, seconded by trustee Regalado. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
Yeah, she's right at the camera. Right up there.
Item 13E, discussion regarding school safety and security. Dr. Gonzalez, there's nothing to report, correct?
That's right, Madam President.
13F, pending and/or potential litigation.
There's no action on that, Madam President.
Thank you so much. 13F1, possible action regarding the proposed settlement and release with Western Surety Company, CNA Insurance Group, as performance bond surety for Protec Integration Systems, Inc., DBA Protec Security Systems, on competitive sealed proposal number 2021-127, location 1, Cathy Middle School, and location 2, Jackson Elementary School fire alarm upgrade. What say ye, board?
No action on this matter.
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you, trustee. 13G, possible real estate acquisition. Mr.
None, Madam President.
Thank you so much. Item 14, schedule of future meetings. 14A, board workshop, June 5th at 5:30. Do we have a board meeting that day?
Yes.
No.
Yep. Only
June
June
12th.
13th.
June 12th.
I mean, June 12th. June 12th is our only board one.
Any way we can combine?
And that's what I'm thinking too.
What about on the financial?
Well, the workshop is for the budget, but we're asking for approval on June 12th.
Right.
So we'll want to.
So we
We're gonna
should keep the
that.
June 5th, yeah.
We will keep that. Okay.
Thanks,
And-
Adele.
And 14B, regular board meeting, June 22nd at 5 p.m. here in the Dr. Ricardo Chapa.
Madam President, I think we have to amend this.
No, June 12th is what I'm posting, I'm sorry. June 12th is when I'm posting the notice. Oh, okay, it is wrong.
So we do have to amend this schedule for ourselves to now add the June 12th, which is a Monday? Monday.
So delete the 22nd?
That is the board meeting.
Yeah, it's not the
There's no board
22nd.
meeting.
It's the typo. It's the 12th.
So it should say June 12th.
It should say June 12th.
Oh, okay.
We had
Mr.
previously
Saldana,
discussed.
do we need to make a motion to amend the agenda for the
Yes.
12th?
Yeah, move to, correct, yeah.
Not
Okay.
22nd,
Madam President, I move to correct 14B to reflect regular board meeting of June the 12th, 2023, and to approve then the schedule of future meetings.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar, second by trustee Kittleman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. So we will have our board workshop June 5th at 5:30 and our regular board meeting June 12th at 5 p.m. Item,
Miss Natalie will make sure we got it on the calendar.
yep.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's actually already there. Item 15, adjourn. I'd love to entertain a motion. It's been moved by trustee Kittleman. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by trustee DeVetto. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We will now I'll give everybody a few minutes to get back on their iPad and get onto the right pages for the board workshop. We were on human resources. Mr. Miller?